can behave like this Baba in Ekiti State, then there will be nobody traveling from Port Harcourt to Bayelsa. There will be nobody traveling from Port Harcourt and sneaking into Akwa Ibom, or everybody's just going to be stationed where they are.
Yeah.
But that's not all we will be talking about. Officially, we're going to welcome you to today's hustle. It's Wealth, Bulu, and myself, Canada, and we will be talking about some interesting trending stories, and we're just going to dive straight into the meat of the conversation. And first on the trending list is Buhari appoints dead Ebonyi ex-lawmaker. What do you guys make of it? The guy died in February. The guy died in February 2020.
Okay.
At the time he was appointed, he was still alive. So is that enough excuse, for the federal government? But then again, does it still mean, or does it still?
I think this is the second time it has happened, right?
Yeah, in 2017 it did happen. But does this highlight the analog system of accumulating data that we have in Nigeria? Because if it was computerized, we would have known, or the federal government would have known, or should have known, that this so person has died. For example, everybody knows Abba Kyari has died, and nobody's going to be reappointing Abba Kyari. So does this highlight the system, or was it intentionally done? Oh, we know the guy has died, let's just put it so that one slot we'll use it and be collecting money.
No, it paints your government as irresponsible.
What if nobody knew?
That's the point. People know about this. What if nobody knew? It still paints your government as irresponsible, whether people know about it or not. The government might not be irresponsible, but when you make certain mistakes like this, when I saw it, like I told you, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was just politics or fake news and stuff like that. But then I found out, oh yes, this actually did happen, and I was surprised. I felt like, does this still can we? Somebody somewhere in the president's team or his cabinet or somebody somewhere has been careless. That's just why I can take from all of this.
And such a person should lose his or her job, right?
It's enough offense, actually.
Before you appoint someone, right? Is it not mandatory that probably that person is informed, and then a lot of other
screening and all of
would
that,
go on and all of that.
Yeah.
So it then means that somehow we cannot say that they did not know, because this is the processes that follows up with appointing anyone to any political office, right?
Like the APC just come out to say that he was appointed, then he died.
That's not enough.
So there's a
That's
possibility that he was alive.
He was appointed and he died, and then the appointment still holds. Who does that anyway? It just reminds me of that one time when somebody said that he was I don't know where he went to go and search for Nigeria and the information about the current ministers and current serving officials, and he still saw Goodluck Jonathan as president of Nigeria.
Okay. It was.
I think it was in China.
The embassy.
The embassy in China. Yes. This would be the same thing as the presidency coming out to say, okay, the chief of staff Abba Kyari tomorrow would address, and people will be like, okay. Abba Kyari.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It doesn't matter.
But like I said, it just probably is as a result of the poor data collation system we have, or infrastructure we have in Nigeria.
Poor, if we have poor data and poor data infrastructure in Nigeria, we shouldn't have poor data infrastructure in the presidency. Do you understand?
Do you know how many people have? Do you know that many Nigerians don't have birth certificates?
And many of them also don't have birth certificates.
I'm going somewhere. Many Nigerians don't have birth certificates, and there are so many people who have died as well, who we don't know are dead, because there is no national death registry, so to say.
It would be forgivable or almost expedient that you expect that you'd see Nigerians that wouldn't know about, some birth certificates, people wouldn't have it. But when the president doesn't know that somebody he appointed is dead, and I'm very sure it wasn't the president himself, I'm sure it was somebody in his team, all right, that made that mistake. But that's a very careless one. It paints the presidency as a whole as irresponsible.
All right. Okay, so now let's move over from one agency to another agency. We have a dead man being appointed into the FCC, the Federal Character Commission, and it has caused a lot of uproar. But we're looking at another agency, which is the interventionist agency called the Niger Delta Development Commission. And, it is in the news. It's been trending for more than 24 hours now that the agency has sent home workers and they are now put on compulsory leave so that the forensic audit can take place. And now the people who have been sent home are people who are being investigated by, security agencies like the police, the
ICPC.
EFCC, ICPC, yes, and then people who are heading certain vital positions who can influence the auditing process. And then we have also people who have been what's it called now? People who are being investigated by the forensic audit. Now, do you think, I asked this question yesterday and I'm tempted to ask it again. Do we think this is just a smoke screen? Just to make it look like, we're working, we're doing something. I mean, we are out there. Because these people on compulsory on compulsory leave will still be taking home their salaries and allowances.
Is it the truth of the matter is, there's a forensic auditing going on, right? And that is to prove whether or not they're guilty. So in the country we find ourselves, they are innocent until proven otherwise, right? So
why then send them home?
It's just to clear the air, right? You are being indicted. Let's be sure that, this is just false call or you are actually, supposed to go down for what you've done previously. So stay at home. Let's investigate. It doesn't mean that we're taking away your job until we find out that
until
you're guilty.
You know why I'm asking if it's a smoke screen? Because I don't see why there is so much drama. Like it's a Nollywood part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 movie. Now, forensic auditing has been on since last year, right? What is there to audit? Bring all the documents that are available. It's not like you're going to be all the available documents, bring it before the Auditor General, and he's going to audit it. I don't see where the drama is.
The audit is for the years 2001, right? Till date. So apparently, as they would say, it's going to be really rigorous. All the files they would need to go dig up and probably source somewhere from somebody and that process.
I don't see the big deal. See, this is what it says. Files from 2000 and 2000 up to 2020, send it to Abuja, to the Auditor General's office. Right. A very big plane would carry it so it doesn't crash. I know what I'm saying. Because before they'll say, fire, something happened or the plane crashed. A very big plane carries it to Abuja. There is no big drama there. We don't even have, we would not even hear a thing. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. It's just going to be looking at the files for the next, we might even employ some more people since there is
do you feel like we should employ people for people that have nothing to lose, nothing to gain? Like people from foreign agencies?
No. We can do this ourselves. I can do this job. Yeah. What is there? So in 1999, because at the end federal of the day, government gave NDDC so amount of money. I check.
But the point is this.
The money came. Where did the money go to?
At the end of the day, you're a Nigerian. And the average Nigerian, when I come to you as somebody that has money and I say, okay, look, this was what happened in 2001. But I'll give you 1 billion.
You don't know me.
Just say,
you don't know me. Money doesn't move me. See, I just the fact that you're even giving me money. I like to talk.
Would annoy you.
Would annoy me. There's more reason why
I sure, Canada?
I will collect your money and still come out and talk.
Okay, that's the point. You collect the money.
I'll collect the money and come out and talk. You annoy me.
But most other Nigerians wouldn't do that. Other Nigerians would collect the money and keep shut.
I just really feel that in the end of the day, if they are saying that they want these people to go back home so that they'll be able to carry out a credible job, then no problem. But all we want to know is that whatever auditing that they're carrying out will be, very fair.
All right.
Right?
All right.
Nobody is going to protect anybody because we're trying to see how we can stop the embezzlement of funds meant for the regions or for the people in itself. So if we have credible people of integrity there, then
that's the word.
So who's to say that I cannot influence the auditing from my home? People are working from home right now, right?
Okay.
So who says I can't influence from home?
But the public will say that, this person, his name was, listed as those people indicted, people who probably siphoned money for projects.
Will forget.
Maybe that's the case anyway.
Nigerians will forget. But let's move over to another, would I call this an agency? Maybe the presidential tax for... The presidential task force. Let's move over to that conversation. Now, 2 days ago, Lai Mohammed came out and said that, what did Lai Mohammed say again? He said that the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria had spoken to the president of the United States, and that they had talked about Nigeria's fight against COVID-19, and that the president of Nigeria used that opportunity to intimate the United States president on Nigeria's need for ventilators. And I ignored. And I just felt like maybe it's just a friendly chat, so I didn't want to, so they don't say we're always criticizing the president, some people will call and say. So I left it. Because in my head then was innocent motors. I mean, what happened to the same presidential task force coming out some few weeks ago to say that they will partner with local manufacturers like Senegal, did. We saw the video trending some few days ago. What was wrong with them partnering with local manufacturers to bring about, ventilators or even testing kits and all of that stuff? But hey, they decided to go beg, like they did beg Elon Musk, right? And this is our president doing the begging this time.
See, the truth of the matter is, you remember one time when we were talking about Innocent Motor and the federal government coming out to say that they were going to partner with not just Innocent but other manufacturers in the country. That was a good idea. But at first we thought of it like, okay, why did it take us so long for us to even make the move?
That was the argument then,
with Innocent, right? And then I think just yesterday or 2 days ago, I saw a local school, I think it's one polytechnic in whether Ekiti State or Ilorin, I can't really remember now, who had said that the students have been able to make a ventilator. Now, what they need is probably reimbursement or embossment so that they can make it
more.
In bulk and all of that. Now, I was wondering which ministry will pick that up because it was on the news. And then
all the ministries were supposed to pick it up because almost all the ministries are part of the presidential task force.
It's been 2 days afterwards. I haven't seen any, reply from any ministry at all. And then all of a sudden we're seeing Donald Trump saying that Nigeria would do anything for ventilators, for crying out loud. You're not crying.
I told you to stop using that phrase. You're not crying. But where's the looking inward?
Where's the looking inward that we always come on social media, on newspaper column, and that we were talking about how we want to empower and see how we can use this particular period to rejuvenate these sectors. Where is it? I mean, it pretty much looks like the government just tells us what we want to hear, and then they go on to do what they feel like they should do.
I spoke to, let me quote Trump. I spoke to Nigeria. I spoke today to Nigeria. They will do anything for ventilators. We are going to send at least 200 ventilators to Nigeria, probably more than that.
But then the underlying factor for me is that statement. They would do anything. How was this particular thing conveyed to Trump?
Exactly. So now
he picked up.
I'll tell you.
That was where I was going to come in. All right. So if you know Trump and you've listened to him over the years, he could blow things out of proportion. He could exaggerate to want to impress his people. He does this a lot. It does this a lot, and we see him do things like this. So this might be one of those cases because the US themselves have complained that they need ventilators
at one time. But now they're having their cases depreciated.
But the point is they at one point said they need ventilators. Okay, so it might be true that maybe the president has somehow just asked him for ventilators, and Trump is blowing this out of proportion. That's possible.
I don't think Trump. Sorry, forgive me, anybody who's listening. I'm not a hater of the president. I'm not a hater of any politician, as a matter of fact. But I don't think Trump was blowing this out of proportion.
I'm saying that could have been a possibility.
Trump likes big bloats, yes. But this was not. Now, remember when the president visited Trump?
Okay, but
wait. Let's go down memory lane. Remember when the president one time visited Trump and he was all yes sir, like he had that what do you call it?
Body language
of yes sir. That was when he was at the White House in the United States, and then there was a report that came out that a few days later Trump had said, which was really not verified, but it was leaked information that Trump had said that the president was blah blah blah, and Nigerians took it over the board anyways. But then again, he had the language of yes sir, and I'm thinking that when we get to talk with foreign leaders, we have, just like now, the president comes in here. All of us are sharp man, all of us be like, welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
Apart from
welcome, sir.
Money doesn't move
you never would know. Power does. Money doesn't move me, but power does.
Oh, okay.
So he probably might have had that cowering body language, and he's like, I don't know.
I'm not saying, all right. I'm not saying that maybe the president didn't ask for.
I'm saying the manner
right?
in which he had asked might also have sold him out. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, okay. The manner in which he asked, but at the same time, Trump might have blown this out of proportion, because I have a problem with that statement. The statement said Nigeria would do anything for ventilators. That's a very funny statement to make. Right? But the point is this: I'm also still surprised. Okay, I'm also still surprised that the president is still asking foreign countries for ventilators, because they said we were going to look inwards. All right, I read this news. Was it day before yesterday in Benue State? Somebody one local manufacturer made a ventilator. What this does is, when they see that the presidency is still looking outwards for ventilators, it kills the morale. You don't want to do these things anymore.
There is nothing wrong if the president expresses the plight of the country to maybe another president. You say, okay, you know what, we're lagging behind. We don't have enough ventilators. Our testing centers, are suffering and all of. Nothing wrong with that. But then, coming out to say that we will do anything gives a wrong impression.
It gives the wrong impression. Honestly, I feel this Trump.
But then again, I might agree with you guys, because looking at the cases that we have in Nigeria, we have 1,700 and something
cases,
and so it's not as desperate. And majority of them are young people. And we still have
600.
Majority of them are young people, and majority of them are recovering. So we haven't gotten to that phase where we really actually need ventilators. So I probably don't get where that is coming from.
Or maybe the presidency have been able to figure that, maybe even if we want to partner with these people, it will take a longer time for them to produce these ventilators. Just maybe that's what he thought. But honestly, I just feel like this particular statement is blowing me away. And then
well, you're still,
it's blowing my mind away.
Well,
and then I still feel like, instead of us to, get all angry, as Bolu said, maybe the president of the United States is probably exaggerating the issue.
Probably exaggerating.
Or, I don't know, but I just want to believe this is an exaggeration.
Or the president exaggerated his request.
Honestly, like Welfare said, there's nothing wrong, all right? We need the ventilators, maybe not as much. I don't really see. Maybe not as much
Remember when we went to the isolation center, and he said ventilators are only needed when it gets to the critical
very
stage.
Severe case,
and we rarely had critical stages.
And as we would always say, maybe the president is, opportune to various information that we may not know. I mean, we always speculate that the numbers we have is underreported.
Or maybe he did not get the information.
Or maybe, right?
All right, then.
Just maybe.
So many maybes now. But let's move over to another agency-like conversation where, the palliatives committee, the federal palliatives committee. Now, there's been the back and forth between Oyo State government and the federal government over the bags of rice that was given to the state, and Oyo and I think Ogun State. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not Ogun State. Another state. Is it Ondo State? One of them.
Yeah, Ondo State.
I'd come out to say, see that rice.
Some of it,
pure. Pure. The rice no pure, and we might return it. And then it caused a lot of uproar, and the federal government replied through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and said, see, NAFDAC and Customs verified the rice. Customs came out and said, yes, the rice were good, right? The NAFDAC came out and said, hey, guys, slow. We know nothing about it.
Don't put us in the mix.
Don't put us in the mix, man. Don't put us in the mix. And that was what really happened. And now we're beginning to see another report from, is it the customs? And the customs is saying something about that they would not accept the rice given.
Yeah, they rejected the 1,800 bags of rice returned by Oyo State.
So they are, in my opinion, are accusing Oyo State of swapping the bags of rice. And, that's how I understand it. I don't know about you out there.
But, I feel like this is not rocket science. Before you send out palliatives, there is a committee that is to ensure that whatever you're sending in working hand in hand with NAFDAC, number one, would ensure that this particular foodstuff or relief materials are good for consumption. So I wonder how this can happen. NAFDAC is not in the know, and then there is now the rocking issue between customs and the state government. I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me.
In Nigeria, there's always the interagency war. This agency or ministry is trying to outplay the other ministry because there, like you said, there's nothing. I mean, the first place that should have gone. No, customs does not even have the right to check.
My God, for crying out loud, NAFDAC did not know about
NAFDAC
distribution and did not certify
the agency.
How standard it is.
I remember very clearly the day we were talking about, taking the rice from seized rice. And I was telling you guys, something could be wrong with this rice, but nobody was thinking in that direction.
No, people were saying, we all said probably.
People were saying, no, give people the rice and everything.
Give me the rice.
And give people the rice. And now we have a problem on our hands. The Oyo State government has come out
to
say,
what if it's just politics? What if it's just politics? Because customs has said, no, the rice we gave you, we are very sure were good rice.
Now, funny enough, we can't take that away. It could be politics because then again, this is Nigeria. And in Nigeria, we like to play politics with everything. But, the Ondo State government, for instance, now came out day before yesterday to say, look, some of the rice were bad, some were good. We're going to, sieve the good ones, destroy the bad ones, and then give the good ones to the people. I think that's what the Oyo State government should have done as well. If some of them were bad, at least the federal government gave you something. I mean, this was not rice that the federal government produced. It was something that people asked for. It was something from NAFTA.
The state government, for me, I don't want to care if they usually would have squabble with the federal government in the, previously. But for this particular case, I feel like they are right because honestly, I do not see how the federal government will send in palliative food stuff, relief material to people who, according to you, are the poorest of the poor and vulnerable in society. And you're sending substandard food products to these people.
But customs right now is saying it's not substandard.
Customs
what if it's politics?
What if they are not? You see where the question and the mind-blowing thing is how come NAFDAC is not directly involved in this? Because NAFDAC should be there to certify and say, okay, you know what, since we're sending this to the vulnerable, let's be sure that this is standard enough. Let's be sure that this hasn't expired so that people don't consume bad food and die.
Now, let's look at it. Weevil. We have weevils in beans, right?
Well,
and we still eat those beans. Let's look at it from, it might just be politics. I mean, if you boil that rice, heat it up well, the weevils will die.
Do you know how many people you will send those to, and before you know it, they're calling into radio stations and saying that, see what my government gave me, or the rice, it was infested with weevils and all of that. I mean, if you're going to do something good, do it to the latter. That's all.
But this isn't like the government doing something good. This is what the government has to do because we don't have food in the country. We have to give up palliatives, and people cried out for this. People wanted this. People said, "What about the food?"
We don't have food in the country. The government had promised palliatives to the people,
so you can't come and tell me that
they are taking from their garbage and giving.
Which the government is struggling with.
People asked for this. People asked that the government give them from,
and the government obliged. Simple as that.
Anyways, you guys should reserve your energy because we also need palliatives in the studios. If you use all your energy to shout,
I'm already having a headache.
For me, the governor of Oyo State, when he found out that this is what was happening, he could have sent a memo to the president. All right, send him a letter saying, look, the bags of rice that you sent to us, some of them were bad, or all of them were bad, and we'll return it to you and not go to the press.
Okay, fine.
Because I don't think the federal government would want to do that purposely.
Let's move on. We would like to see the end of this. It still plays out. This is part 3 of the first one was Oyo to return the rice. Second one was government coming out to say the rice was was good. NAFDAC certified it. Part 3. This is part 4. Part 3. NAFDAC coming out to say, hey, no, we didn't do shit. We didn't do stuff. I did shit. I didn't say anything. Yeah. Okay. Calm down. And then part 4 was this one.
Customs
rejecting the rice returned to.
Hopefully, you get to see part 5.
That's what I'm saying.
And we wouldn't have had all these parts if the right thing was just done.
Okay, fine. That's what's problem. But let's move on now to another conversation. Kanu is a cause of concern for many of Nigerians because of the number of deaths recorded, and at the time the cause of deaths were not known. But according to the Commissioner for Health in Kano State, A verbal autopsy was done, and he even claimed that WHO backs verbal autopsy, and that they had to use a mathematician, who's good in statistics, to go around the 17 local governments in Kano State to find out the cause of deaths, and then they interacted with family members, and according to this report, 41% of the deceased showed symptoms of coronavirus. And it might be more. It just might be more, because you have to put into cognizance the level of education of the people who were asked questions, who were interviewed. So it might just be more than 41%. And if that is the case, my God, we probably might have a serious situation in our hands, because a lot of the people might have migrated from Kano State to other states before the lockdown in the north. And a lot of these people are the ones bringing food, supplies to other parts of the country, because there is supposed to be a relaxed restriction of borders for these food distributors. So, my God, what do you guys think of it? Because I'm scared myself.
Honestly, I was scared from the first time I saw the reports of the unusual deaths in Kano State. I was quite confused. I felt like, this could be COVID-19. But, the governor and as well as the commissioner of health in that state came out to, say some of them were malaria and everything. I wanted investigations to be done. And now we've had investigations that says 41% displayed symptoms. And like you said, truly it might be more than 41% because they really want to look like they wouldn't want to look against what the commissioner of health and the state
they wouldn't even want to
go against
that. They might not even want to make people scared and all, so they might just want to play it down a little bit.
Funny enough, Rabiu Kwakwanso, former governor of Kano State, had written a letter to the president where he told the president that most of these people showed symptoms of COVID-19 before they passed. The president came back to
presidency.
The presidency knocked Kwakwanso over those comments, right? And said he was kind of like playing politics and stuff like that. But apparently,
now today, part 3.
Apparently now this might be true. And if this is true, we really have a problem.
But let's look at it from the reverse side of the argument. Imagine if this was malaria. We still have a problem on our hands. Malaria killing hundreds of people, it is still a serious situation. What is the health facility like in Kano State? That will be the first question.
See, I do feel like with the issue with Kwankwaso and the presidency, I mean, after this report have been made, I felt like the state government, together with whatever ministry, or ministries, as the case may be, come together and see how they can carry out investigations, right? Let us ascertain what the issue is. These people, I'm pretty sure these are not the only ones who have been affected. If it's communicable, I'm pretty sure a lot of persons have contracted the disease or virus, as the case may be. So I feel once reports like this gets to the hands of the ministry, the state government, and maybe the presidency, if lucky enough, then immediate investigations should already begin. I mean, it's just like the case that we have here in River State or in the Niger Delta with the dead fishes. I felt like a lot of ministries should have, swinged into that one and see how we can ascertain the cause of.
We have what they call them, NIMASA, and I wonder why NIMASA is, because NIMASA's work is not actually to look into food. It should be NAFDAC actually, right there in the thick of things, trying to ensure or investigate what did happen with those dead fishes, because it's spread around the south states, and you never would know how many people have even eaten all of that. But let's round up or wrap up conversations with okay.
All right, quickly talking about palliatives, I just saw that the ministry is saying that they would not be disclosing the names of persons or the people who have benefited from the palliatives. They say we can't publish the beneficiaries of COVID-19 palliatives, says Minister. This is coming from Sadiya Umar Farouk, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. And then he says that it is against the norms to publish the names of individuals that benefit from the government's intervention.
Against what norms?
I don't
Transparency
know. I don't know,
is the key word.
As you see, it's against the norms.
Transparency is the key word. Transparency.
If the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs is coming out to say
human
this.
dignity. That's
we don't want.
They are vulnerable.
Poorest Nigerians.
Yes, so what's the dignity there?
Help me.
I'm telling you, like they probably even want people to know they are poor so they can get more help.
See, I am poor. I said it on air. Yeah, I said it. There's no dignifying it.
I mean, I just feel like this is just, I mean, you remember when Heather had said that, let us be accountable, tell us what's going on with all of that and all of that. Same, I mean, for crying out loud, let us get to know these people so that we can follow up and be sure that nobody somewhere is making huge benefits from what should be going to vulnerable Nigerians. I think I'll have to leave
you guys for like a month and go join the investigative team and see how this money is spent. What do you guys think? Are you guys giving me your blessings now? Yeah.
As long as you do.
No, like this is for me the most terrible news the whole day. How can you say that it is against the norm and human dignity to publish the names of beneficiaries of the government palliative for vulnerable and poorest Nigerians?
Okay, calm down. I know you need palliatives too.
No, it's not a matter.
But this is the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs.
Calm down.
What's the irony about? Why can't you publish their names and publish the details and
there's supposed to be a register, right?
I mean,
there's supposed to be a register. The family register, 1 million. The government president to come out to talk about it. I say more people should even be enrolled into the register.
People who are following up to make sure that there is accountability in it does not find it difficult.
Statements like this would make me want to believe that somebody somewhere is making money from all of this.
Again, have you been scammed?
So this whole time you believe that nobody was making benefits.
Definitely somebody was making money, but statements like this.
But let's open the phone lines. But before we do that, you guys must have seen the trend also on social media about the guy who was arrested for blasphemy in Kaduna State, for talking about Muhammad.
Yes.
Well, previously, before he talked about Muhammad, he had talked about TB Joshua. And he had likened Muhammad, or is it Muhammadu of Saudi Arabia, to TB Joshua, and said that both sides are religion generally was trying to say is a scam because he's an atheist. But then he was arrested, and I don't know what you guys think about it, because from the religious perspective in the Quran, according to the report I read, says that if a non-believer blasphemes against Muhammad, nothing should be done to the person, but instead do not sit in a congregation of such people, because you might just end up on Judgment Day being seen as they are. So do you think this was the right thing to do?
Honestly, I saw the trend yesterday and I was just thinking to myself, why would you arrest the man? And then people were even threatening to kill the man, even if it was released.
That's a good enough reason for them to have arrested him, because it might just cause breach of peace. Don't you think so?
Yeah. Okay. If that was the cause of the arrest.
Volu just had to agree.
But look at it from that angle. That could cause...
Here in Nigeria, they would arrest you for your own good. Look, you're under...
arrest for your own good.
Not necessarily... not necessarily for his own good, but for what's the word?
For arresting you to keep you safe.
No. He actually incited the people. He incited the people by talk.
But this is I mean, like, this is a country that doesn't support any one religion, all right? We allow freedom of speech.
But remember what they say, your freedom of speech ends where my freedom of speech begins. So think about it. So if you say something that offends me, then it's no longer freedom of speech. I can sue you. I did a bit of law, in my village.
Okay.
It's time for us to open the phone lines. We have 14 minutes left on the clock. 0817-000-0951 and 081. Okay, I was accused of calling the numbers too fast yesterday. 0817 000-0951 and 0810 9510951. Text messages to the number 0701-933-9962. That number doubles as the WhatsApp message number. 95.1 FM. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, good afternoon. James calling from Port Harcourt.
All right, Gabe from Port Harcourt.
And let me just talk to people about the Minister of Finance, saying that they cannot who have benefit from this.
Minister of Finance, not Humanitarian Affairs.
Yeah. See, they are all criminals.
No. Reconstruct your words. Sorry for that word. But you know what I'm saying too? They sent a message to my wife that if my wife had the BVN card to go and give me 30,000 naira. They sent through our account number. That we should call that number. We call that number, and they also send us a pin. So we now send that pin back to them. See, today that number is going again.
You understand?
Yeah. Are you sure you have not been scammed by scammers?
It's not a scam. They didn't ask to account because they sent through our bank already.
All right.
You understand? They sent through our bank. They didn't send through a personal number.
Okay.
So these people, they have collected money and they're investing the money.
All right. Thank you very much, Gift. You have a point there, but we've got to go now because there is not enough time, so other people can actually, have their say on this very issue or issues that we've raised on the show. 95.1 FM. What's your name?
Mr. Bright from Rumibo.
Mr. Bright from Rumibo, welcome.
Thank you. Yes, the arrest of the guy in Kaduna who... Yes. You see, there are a lot of things I expect us to be doing. The 1994 genocide in Rwanda that claimed over 900,000 lives was a caricature of people's religion and ethnicity.
All right.
You can play with someone's political leaning and you have political settlement. But when you denigrate someone's ethnicity or religion, those are two facets of life people hold to supremacy.
All right.
In sometime 2016 or 15 in France, a newspaper
did a cartoon
because of a cartoon. You see, now I expect us, the media, to try to let people know you can do that about Jesus Christ and get away. Okay, but it is also wrong. There are some sects in Christianity that will also take it to the extremity.
All right.
It is wrong to denigrate people's religion because that is what they hold so dear.
All right, thank you.
So arresting that guy, like you put it, was for public because he incited.
I mentioned it.
If he had not been arrested, he would have been killed.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We've got to move on now. Sorry, we've got to move on now. Thank you very much. 95.1 FM, what's your name and where are you calling in from?
Good afternoon. My name is Princess. I'm calling from Ozoba, Port Harcourt.
You're welcome.
All right, Princess, welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I sent in a text message through a number you you gave to me some time ago.
All right.
I made a complaint to you. I have not received the
I've not seen the message. Send the message again. Sorry, I didn't see the message.
Is there any other thing I have to do to?
No. Just say I've seen so many messages coming every day, so I really can't read them. So yeah, just send it now, and probably we get them now. Yeah.
Please, my name is Princess.
All right, just send it and say my name is Princess. Thank you very much. Yeah?
Thank you, sir.
All right, then. Yeah. Oh, my. All right, then. 95.1 FM. What's your name and where are you calling in from?
I like that. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Why are you guys laughing? It's positive matter. Welcome.
My name is Madiba.
Oh, Madiba. Madiba, welcome. It's been a while.
Yeah. Canada, nothing much to contribute, but let me quickly correct an impression. The issue of the fish. Yeah, you call NAFDAC. NAFDAC is not responsible there, okay?
Why is NAFDAC not responsible? Why? It has to do with food.
Hold on. That is why you might say it elsewhere. NAFDAC is responsible with issues that you brought in for consumption. You said it's okay now. So it is NAFDAC will now do those tests before they allow you to take it to the market. But what is on ground there, we have a series of duplicated agencies that have the responsibility. You have the NASRA, you have FETA, and you have the what's this one their name now? A Minister of Agriculture.
Okay, but NAFDAC is still therein. I mean, that's the argument.
I just told you that NAFDAC can be called upon into an issue that anything you brought, let me go down the local palace, like you cook in your house now. You say, look, you want to sell this thing to the market now.
No. I'm sorry, I disagree with you. NAFDAC was also brought to certify the rice and oil that were distributed for. Well, listen, Madiba. The fish that had.
was invited to certify the rice.
Oh my!
They were not called. It is clear. You played the woman this, and that is why he's there.
But the argument?
You as an insider, don't
okay.
argue.
See now,
I'm telling you as an insider.
Madiba, would you listen now, please? I've listened to you. Now, NAFDAC is the agency in charge of food. Now, the fishes on the shore will be consumed. Anything that is consumable, NAFDAC should be there. And that is our argument. As simple as that.
Kalada, I just told you are not correct.
All right,
Nobody has brought those things into the market.
So how sure are you? How sure are you?
Check your
all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madiba, for calling in. Thank you very much there. 95.1 FM. What's your name and where are you calling in from?
Canada, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To your colleague, Okwando of the night.
Welcome.
I don't like when other people as if other people believe or it not be encouraged. Even when the federal government want to define what it is, I think this thing that this man did falls in the category of what they were trying to declare
as hate speech. All right.
It is not encouraged. It is not.
All right.
I have my own religion to attend to. You have your own. Are you telling me bad about my own religion? If I am a Christian, I don't have to talk bad about Islam or food or other things. Even in the Bible, I have nothing where the Bible says that we should do that.
All right.
So why are we doing it? So arresting that man is a step in the right direction. He's doing it for his own good.
All right.
Had he been the other people saw him unarrested, they could have done him something bad.
All right. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Okwandu there. Let's read some text messages, please, and so we can balance the conversation on the show.
All right, quickly, this one says, it is only in our darling country, Nigeria, that even at death, you still get appointed to come and serve. They will not allow your soul to rest in peace. Now, for this Nigeria. All right. All right, this other one says, one consistent thing about the government is diversionary tactics. They never intended to partner with Innocent or any other local manufacturer for ventilators. All right. This one says, almost all the countries need ventilators. There is nothing wrong if Nigeria does anything to get a ventilator. We Nigerians like to pick hole in everything that has to do with Buhari. Assuming he did not ask, we will still tackle him. Kalada, you're really so controversial. Smart.
All right, then.
All right, this one says, Buhari appointing a dead person. Let's give this man a break. He can't do everything. He has aid and advisors. They should be blamed.
Did we say Buhari? We said the federal government or presidency.
Presidency.
We know what they call themselves.
All right, this one says, we shouldn't make ourselves look like a murderers going about begging for assistance and we claim we're sovereign. Trump can even address himself by his name. Okay. Providence. All right. The bottom line here is that we should all have it at the back of our minds that there is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong expressing the plight of a nation.
Yeah, you mentioned
to another.
It, yeah.
So this other text message says, are we sure that it was Buhari that made such appointments or his cabal? If this is true, it means we're no longer safe.
They all still make up the presidency. It's the presidency.
All right, this one says, good afternoon. For me, the rice should be taken and worked on. Our Lord dislikes wheat. Rice is bad due to where it was kept before distribution. Okay, from Toby. Thank you very much. This one says, Kalada, Bulu and Wells. Good afternoon. Kalada, I think you also did a bit of comedy, not just law. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs is funny. What's that statement of being transparent? Victor, all right, from Belelemo.
So what's my statement? What I meant by transparency? Transparency.
No. I think he's trying to say that the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs is funny. What I'm pretty sure with that statement, I guess, of being transparent. Of being transparent. All right, this one says the way the federal government and the state government is going about the so-called palliatives is like an organized crime. The person in charge of the humanitarian ministry cannot provide evidence of
no palliative ice. All right, now one last call.
The person in charge of the humanitarian ministry cannot provide evidence of how they've distributed the palliative. COVID-19 have provided an avenue for some persons to make quick money. William Thomas, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Palliative ice. 95.1 FM, yeah.
Good evening, Canada.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah. I want to talk concerning the president appointing a dead person.
All right.
You knew that a similar mistake had been made before.
Yeah, in 2017. Yeah.
And now they are still repeating the same mistake. That shows, and it's very much irresponsible. And it looks as if the government is not even serious.
Is it? But don't you think you can blame it on the faulty, data system that we have, and not necessarily? I mean, like I explained earlier, the person was alive when he was appointed. Maybe they don't have the right data, and that's why they went ahead with sending those names to the National Assembly.
Okay, before you appoint somebody, we just appoint the person without seeing the person.
No, get my point. When he was appointed, he was alive. When he was shortlisted, rather, for appointment, he was alive. So now, how did we know he was dead? It was when the names were sent to, the National Assembly. And the National Assembly, in my own opinion, only knew because he was a former House of Representatives member. So maybe if he wasn't, they probably would not have even known.
To me, this I see one as a national embarrassment.
All right, then.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. Let's read one last message, and then we take a bow on the first half of the show.
All right. This one says, my name is Imaman Abraham from Eche in River State. President Muhammadu Buhari appoints a dead man in his cabinet. Such thing is fortunate. Means we have so many ghost workers in the federal civil service. That makes him not to create employment since 2015 till now. And empower teachers